All right, good afternoon. I don't know when you're listening to this, everybody, but yeah, thanks for joining us here. We got Bryan Berard on the show today, and it's funny, Bryan. When I do interviews every week, and you never know what you're going to get, and I do research because I'm just such a studious guy. I had no clue that you have the backstory that you have. Obviously, you're a famous hockey player. I knew you growing up. I was living in St. Catharines. You played for the Leafs. I hated you because I hate the Leafs. But then I started digging in. I'm like, holy crap. You got some stories, man. Like some actual legit, just dramatic stories. And obviously, the eye, everybody talks about that. I'm buddies with Hosa. Everybody knows that happened. But even coming out of juniors, I didn't know you were drafted by the Senators. I had no clue.
Yeah,
I
my
thought you were
career's had
picked
some good
number.
ups and downs for sure. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, I don't know
exactly.
how much you want to get into because I know a lot of
No,
my
whatever you want.
audience and listeners might not know you because I skew young. I'm such a cool hip millennial. Um, so let's just go back. You were taken number one overall in 1995, and you're coming out of Detroit, the junior Red Wings, and I want to get into that too. Then to the Whalers, why that name change happened, but
Yep.
you get picked by the Senators after having an incredible year. You guys win the Mem Cup, and the Senators take you. What happens? Because nowadays, number one overall, you walk right into the show, and that
Yeah.
happened when you were growing up too. Why
We, we
didn't they want you on the team?
we actually got beat by we got lost in the M Cup finals. We got beat by good old Iggy and Doan. We lost to
What?
Kamloops. Yeah, yeah. The Kamloops crushed us. They were in their own barn and they beat us like 8-1 in the finals. So
94,
yeah,
95?
94, 95. Yeah, we lost to Kamloops. In Kamloops, we beat Brandon in the semis. That was Caber and those Caber, Wade Redden. And then we got beat up bad by Kamloops, but they were loaded. They had Tucker, Doan, Aginla, Jason Strudwick, Jason Holland. They had a bunch of guys. Good team. But anyway, long story short, got drafted first overall. It was in Edmonton. We were we didn't know we were going overall, but that day we kind of had a pretty good idea we were going to. It
Yeah.
was going to happen. All my family was there and stuff, and really it had nothing to do. I got a bad rap early on. It was American kid. They thought it was another like Lindros that I didn't want to play in Canada or things like that. It was not true. I played for the Leafs, probably my favorite team. It just when I got to the organization, my first NHL training camp, 18 years old, that for me it was not an ego thing, but I wanted to be that that guy that's drafted first overall that came in and played at 18. So we went
Yeah.
to camp and the organization was a mess, but they had guys like Alexander Day, Bonk, Yashin, they had some good young players, but that time the organization was a mess financially. They sent me back to junior. Basically it was kind of, both we left there and I kind of told my agent, I said, this locker room and this organization's a mess. Let's go back to junior. I was easily probably would have been top four defenseman on that team. And I was the first guy under rookie salary cap as well. So it was only an 850, eight hundred fifty
Yeah.
thousand dollars salary. I shouldn't say only, but um, and they just didn't want to pay me. So I went back and was like,
What?
yeah, which was crazy. So it was kind of just it was a bad taste in my mouth. We went back to junior. At that time, my agent was Tom Laidlaw with IMG, with Eddie Mio and Mike Barnett and stuff. So we had a little bit of juice, that's for sure. So we just went back to junior, and then basically, said we wanted to get traded. And long story short, Mike Milbury started showing up to a bunch of my games, and pulled that deal. It was pretty much a swap, but it was a big deal. It was a three-team trade. It was with the Panthers, Florida, Ottawa, and Islanders. So there's players going all over the place, but basically it was just a swap between me and Redden.
So you just fire hosed us with a lot right there. So
Yeah,
back
sorry
up,
about
slow
that.
down, Brian. How many coffees
I,
have we had today?
I
Cheapers.
will just a couple Addies. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, seriously, you're ripping here. So go back to the camp. So you get in when you say it just wasn't a good, and now they're doing fine. I know Chris Neal, he said their organization is good, but back then, new franchise, trying to learn the ropes, trying to figure out what's going on. What is that? Probably 10 years into their 5 years? I don't know how long they've been in
Yeah,
Ottawa, but what do you mean
Randy.
by they just were not
It's just a
solid?
mess.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's unfortunately because the big John Ferguson is the one that drafted me too, who was a great
Hmm.
guy. But Randy Sexton at that time was a GM. I don't know if it was under new ownership, but they just had a new building being built. For me, it was more the locker room. I mean, they had some quality older guys, like, Dennis Vial and some tough guys like that.
Yeah, I
But
like
as
Dennis.
far,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, tough as nails. But they had some guys that just, again, Dig, Bonk, Yashin. It was just it was a weird locker room, and then the organization was just kind of pulling. It was Bruce Garriock, I believe. I believe he's still a reporter. He kind of, basically off record told us what was going on in the front office, myself and my agent, and we just didn't think it was a right fit for a young kid, 18, 19, coming up, and. And it ended up working out because going to the Islanders, obviously getting traded to the Islanders, we had a bunch of young players, so it worked out good for me.
Yeah, and in that year they actually had three head coaches, and it looked like you made the right decision because they were a complete disaster. But their defense was awful. I would have thought you would probably be 1-2. Like,
I knew I was in the top four for sure. So I'll be honest, my ego was hurt a little bit. I
yeah,
thought I could play and I wanted to play it. In the NHL as 18, there's not too many guys that get to do that. So it was a mess, and then I just went back to junior, which we talked about a little bit before, but offline. But that's when we became the Detroit Junior Red Wings, and then Mike Ilitch and Carmanos, who bought the Hartford Whalers, was our owner, CompuWare's owner. They got in a fight, so we got kicked out of the Joe Louis Arena.
that's funny.
So we were no, yeah, it was just probably owners egos again in the NHL, and so we became the Detroit Whalers. So we got stuck playing out of good old Oak Park, the old CompuWare's shit rink, and we played we played some home games actually out with the at that time the Detroit Vipers. I don't know if you remember the Vipers, the
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
IHL,
yeah.
but they played out with the Pistons played, so we played half our home games out there too, which was
Auburn
nice.
Hills. That's funny. And
Yeah,
then
yeah.
you get traded. You force your way out. So how does that work? Because typically, not typically, even to this day, you're a very valuable piece to the Ottawa Senators. I'm guessing you soured on them, and they maybe soured on you, and your agent was working behind the scenes to say, "Let's get this done."
Yeah, it was just both this. I think we both
Yeah,
agreed what happened, and it kind of happened ugly, just behind the scenes ugly. Not nothing,
yeah.
nothing grudge or anything like that. But it was just that organization was just a little bit. I think they knew they were in turmoil too, so it was kind of and it worked out great for them. They picked up Redden, who had a great career, so it worked out both ways.
And it's funny that you get traded for this guy who was number 2 overall, and he didn't make the team out of camp either with the Islanders. So he went back to juniors. You guys probably played each other maybe throughout that. You were the OHL. Maybe you didn't play him, but
Yeah, no, he didn't. Yep.
have you ever talked to him and be like, buddy, like what happened? Like, how does that happen? Because you would have think he would have made the Islanders out of camp too.
Yeah, we actually never had that conversation, but like you said, your buddies with Hosa after the eye injury. I know jumping forward here, but after that, the horrific eye injury and it was just bad luck. Reds actually brought Hosa to the hospital the next day in
Oh,
Ottawa.
no way.
Yeah, so he brought, which was an emotional day for all three of us, to be honest with you. But definitely Hosa, who felt awful, and then obviously myself, who thought I was going to lose my eye and lose my career. So it was a tough day, that's for sure.
Well, yeah, before we get to that, man, way to bring us down, Brian. Unbelievable.
I know,
Just let's
right?
stay where we're at. Because I'm still blown away by you're an 18-year-old kid and you got the balls to say, you know what? This isn't going to work. Like, because typically an 18-year-old kid, you come in, you want to make sure everybody's happy and everybody likes you. How do you have that how do you have that to do that? Because I would be scared, to say anything.
I think the reason why I shouldn't say the reason why I did it, but the reason why I was okay with it is because the locker room was a mess too. If that had
Yeah.
leadership and some younger guys like Brian McCabe or Bertuzzi, when I walked in with the Islanders, we had a great young mix of guys.
Yeah.
Scott LaChance, Ziggy Palffy, Kenny Johnson. We had a good group of younger players. So as soon as I walked in there, I was like, it was
It's
almost
better.
it was almost an amen kind of thing where I knew it was going to be obviously, especially, it had nothing to do with Canada. I went to Toronto, but I got a bad rap right away. A lot of,
Well, I tell you
I
what,
think
Brian,
people,
you keep saying nothing to do with Canada, and it makes me think that it has a lot to do with Canada.
and not at all. But I was bummed because that's why, obviously, I played in the OHL. And then when I got that kind of rap or that was the rumor going around, that's what affected me. That kind of made me upset, pissed me off.
How was that in the media? Because nowadays you'd be killed. It'd be all like during my All Star thing.
Yeah.
I was every time I picked up a paper, you would have been like front page for months if that would have happened nowadays. Was it still kind of not quite that bad?
It went bad because I mean
Did it?
every time I played in Ottawa, every time I touched the puck, they
That's
booed me.
funny.
Yeah, it was great. I mean, they booed me even back in junior. When I'm back in junior playing the OHL, playing the 67s, they were booing me. So that was good. That was kind of a fun part of it. And then ironic, keep jumping forward on you, but it was ironic because booed me, and then obviously the eye injury happened in Ottawa, which was kind of a freaky thing as well.
Kind
So
of fitting.
Yeah, it's weird. I mean, I mean, you can look at, I don't know if you want to say karma or something like that, but it was definitely,
No,
but it
if you're
definitely,
yeah,
come back. Yeah,
it is
I didn't look
funny
at it like
though.
that, but it's kind of funny to happen that way.
So yeah, you go to the Islanders, and again, this is a team that I thought you were drafted by, and you just tear it up. What kind of player were you? Because you're not your typical. You see the puck movers these days. They're the Kale McCarrs, these Quinn Hughes, the small, shifty guys. You're a big dude. You're 6'1". You're 200 pounds. What was describe your game to me?
Yeah, I played at 6'1", 205 pretty much until I got hurt. But yeah, I mean, my game was definitely all offensive. Ran power play, ran power plays. I mean, my assets were my speed, my skating, obviously, being able to get up the ice pretty quick and get back just as quick.
Yeah.
As every offensive defenseman, you kind of get a bad rap as being being weak defensively. I think that happened early on. I never really had to. I definitely had some weaknesses in my game back then, and I need some good coaching. Bill Stewart actually helped me with the Islanders early on, just to kind of my own zone and things like that too. But offensive run and power plays was definitely my game. And then, I usually, when I was going good, I usually played anywhere from 20 to 25 minutes a game. So just kind of all over the place.
When you're obviously an elite offensive guy, who is your preferred partner? Because you look at they always try to go super offensive, really stay at home. Like McCarr's got Taves, Duncan had Siebes, Pronger and Niedermeyer. Who is your ideal partner when you were at your peak?
I had Scotty LaChance, I think was great. Good stay home guy. But I'll I bet you I'll throw a wrench in a lot of people. My best partner offensively that I put up my offensive numbers and probably best defensively was Stefan Robida in Chicago. Yeah,
Really?
Robida. Yeah, we played. He was a right hand shot, and that's kind of when I first moved to my left hand side because of my eye injury. I always
Yeah.
played my offhand, and then I moved to the left side. But we had good communication, and really he used me a lot on the point. It was probably my best point per game outing with the Blackhawks before I got hurt there in Columbus. But he was just a solid guy, good communication, and he was probably my best D partner. I had some good guys though. I had Karpatov obviously with Toronto with the Leafs, Yuskevich as well, a couple of stay home guys. So definitely, they'd always try to put me with a stay home guy, but Robida was a little offensive as well. So I
Yeah.
like playing with that because we move the puck pretty well, D to D, back to D, things like that, breaking the trap, the good old trap era. But I would say he was my best partner.
No kidding. Yeah, that's shocking. Because yeah, you wouldn't think he would be a nice because he's such a shutdown, stay at home, shot blocking type of guy. I wouldn't assume he'd be good to play with. But there you go. I
Yeah,
learned something
he
different.
was
So
for
you're
sure.
with the Islanders and you're tearing it up, and good, like you said, good young team, lots of promise there. You're not having too much success, but I'm looking at the ages of everybody here. It's 21, 22, 23 years old, and you got this group. I'm guessing we're going to grow together. We're going to build something good, and all of a sudden, like you win the Calder, you're flying. Like everything is good,
Yeah.
right?
Well,
Did you get a sense it was not good, or am I wrong?
no, I thought it was great. Just Mike Milbury had a midlife crisis. That's pretty much it. I mean, I love Mike still today, but I was like his redheaded stepchild. But we got along good, and he just tested guys. But something happened to him where I don't know what it was, but he just started trading away everybody. I mean, he started trading away McCabe and Bertuzzi first for Trevor Linden, which really made no sense. Then obviously he just traded Ziggy Palffy. Then he,
Yep.
obviously we were struggling. Tommy Salo was struggling a little bit, started struggling, needed a goaltender. He traded away me for Felix Botman. He started getting rid of everybody. And the worst part about it, he had early draft picks, so he was bringing in young studs like Ricky DiPietro, and then he brought in Luongo. We had Eric Brewer back on D. We had a lot. Our D would have been unreal. Our top six would have been solid. We would have had a really good team if we would have kept us together for another 3 to 5 years.
It would have been deadly, an absolute deadly, and he lost every. I see. Unlike you, I don't like Mike Milbury. And during my All Star thing, the
A
guy
lot of guys don't. Yeah.
tore me up left and right. Like he was just my biggest just opponent on this. And does it frustrating for you when you look at this roster and you go, "Damn, like we could have had like a solid team if Dum Dum didn't start trading everybody. Like you have talent, you got youth, you got goaltender. Like
Yeah,
it would have been fantastic."
we had toughness too. We had Mick Vukota, Richie Pilon,
Pilon was the scariest guy
yeah,
I've ever played against.
Kenny Belanger at his top game was one of the
Mm-hmm.
tougher guys until Laos knocked him out in Florida. But
Oh,
other than
Paulie.
that, I mean, yeah, we had a tough team too. We had a team. I mean, we definitely did.
Oh
And then
yeah.
Milbury just kind of ran with it and ruined it, unfortunately.
goes full retard and trades everybody on the roster and
Mhm.
loses every single trade. Like the Ashton trade is insane. But anyways, moving
Yep.
past that, when he trades you mid-season, how does that conversation go? Because this is you win the Calder 2 years before. The next year you have an even better season, less games, same amount of points. And that season with the Islanders, you're flying. You got 15 points, 30 games, the team's playing well, and then you get dealt to the Islanders. What do you say to him when he says you're trading me? Because like, what are you, 22 years
Yeah.
old?
Yeah, I got dealt to the Leafs. I was in Montreal. I was out with a groin strain, and I got a call from no idea. I was actually shopping, walking around Montreal during the day. I think I got hurt the night before or so, but I was walking around and I got a call from a Sherwood rep in Toronto and said, "You just got traded to the Leafs." And I was like, "No,"
No.
and I was like, "No effing way. There's not a chance." So I hustled back to the hotel, run into the lobby. There's a couple of guys sitting there. I think Bill Stewart, a couple of guys were sitting there, and they're like, "You better get up to that room." And they think they're like, they might be too late. So actually, I went right to Milway's room. I went right to his hotel room, knocked on the door, he opened the door, and he said, "You're too late. You're traded to the Leafs." He goes, "I needed a goaltender." And that was it. That was our conversation. I never went back to Long Island. I had the good old moving company, move my stuff. I flew right to Toronto, and then my career began as a Leaf.
You're too late? That's what he said.
He said that, yeah, he used to test us, or like, Millbury stories, but we had older guys, but we had good leadership, but a lot of those guys were towards the end of their career, not on big contracts,
Yeah.
so they didn't want to ruffle feathers. So a lot of times Millbury would just, I'll give you, end of my rookie year, we pull in and we get in our equipment and stuff, and there's no hockey bags, there's all trash bags in front of our lockers. And Millbury said we weren't allowed to take our hockey bags home for the summertime. So I was like, this is not the NHL. This is effing bullshit. So I stormed right up to Milbury. No, rookie year, ended rookie year. I stormed right up to Milbury's GM office and said, "Mike, what the?" And he was waiting for me. He said, "I knew it was going to be you, bitch." And he's like, "Go down, and tell Joe McMahon you can take your hockey bags." That's
What?
that's the games he played. He just would always test us, and unfortunately, it was kind of. I grew balls early enough to kind of stand up for my teammates and do what's right.
What do you learn if you're the GM by that? You go, oh, I'm going to test them. I'm going to learn who's going to be mad and
Nothing.
want their equipment back.
Yeah, it's
They're all
crazy.
going to end up hating you. Like I've
That's
never.
exactly. It was a tough time for sure, and tough time for him as well. But um, you know, if I see Mike now, we're fine. I kind of laugh about it now, but it just, I'm sure. Excuse me, I'm sure he same thing. I mean, he looks at stuff like we all do. We do some dumb stuff. You live and learn.
Yeah, no, he's still an idiot. I don't like him. But so you go to Toronto and you go from a again up and coming team to a team that's primed. Like they're win now mode. You got Matt Sundin, Stumpy Thomas. You have good young players and Mike Sullivan. They get you this solid defenseman that they can grow with this group. How excited are you? But not too excited because I heard you don't like Canada.
Oh, that's for sure. I was more than excited once I got there in Toronto. We had right when I got there. I mean, we were a running gun team. We had probably the best skating team, I think, that year.
Yeah,
That's the year. That was probably my only shot, that I thought that my best shot and only shot to win the Stanley Cup. I felt, looking back at my career. We had the Russian mafia, so we were tough as nails as far as blocking shots. Back on the back end. We had some skilled guys. Obviously, Matt Sundin, Freddie Modine. We had the Swedes. We were like an all-nation team, to be honest with you.
yeah.
We had toughness, Chris King, Ty Domi. We had our goaltender, Curtis Joseph. We had, on the back end, guys that still could skate, like Sylvain Cote. We were running gun. We just choked, and I say this all the time. We choked against Buffalo. We had Buffalo. Um, Hasek was hurt the first two games, and we opened up at home and we went 1-1, and we lost to Buffalo in six. And then we would definitely, I thought we were a better team. But Hasek again stole one from us.
Well, yeah, and you finished your regular season like way ahead of them too, which is
Yeah,
terrible, terrible.
we ended up, I think we overlooked Buffalo. We were looking for that Dallas running
Yeah.
gun matchup in the finals.
Gosh, that would have been incredible. So you're flying high. You're playing in Toronto, and we're gonna get to it because the next season is that the next year where you get hurt.
Yeah, exactly. The following season was right in March, pretty much right before the end of the season. I got hurt in March 11th, 2000.
Oh
I'm
wow,
aging myself now, but yeah, March 11th, 2000, I got hurt with the eye.
25 years ago. That's
It's
crazy.
crazy.
Isn't
Yep.
that
Yeah,
wild? Man, we're
it
not that
is.
old. We're not that
We're getting
old,
old. I'm
Brian.
getting
No,
old. Yeah, exactly.
just forget about it. So I don't
Yeah.
want to dig too much because I think it's well documented. I don't know, but how and it's a stupid. You felt terrible. I saw an interview where you said you knew right away because your eye just went black. Like,
Correct. Yeah, I knew with the blood, with all the blood and everything, and obviously, I think the main goal was to try to save the eye that
yeah.
night. Woke up again in the hospital. I thought my career was done easily for, I would say, 6 months or so. I had, look, to make it into a nutshell, but it was like 7 surgeries to fix the retina.
Oh,
Then once I thought I could make a comeback, we were trying to get as much vision as I could out of it, but that was kind of it wasn't working, which was fine with me because if I would have got, and I tell people this now, if I would have got more vision in my eye, I wouldn't have been able to play because their brain, it's weird. The brain works weird ways. So if I get, you kind of get two images in your brain. If my eye kind of is working a little bit, 'cause a lot of
hmm.
times I'll just kind of close it down. It's funny if I wake up hungover and stuff like this, I get actually more. So it has to do with blood pressure. I get more vision out of the eye, and then it kind of screws me up more because my equilibrium is more off. I get almost
Ah.
two images to the brain. So it was good the way I had it. I was able to come back and play 6 7 more years with the one eye. Obviously wasn't ever came back to once the player I was, especially defensively. Offensively, I think I put up even better numbers offensively, but defensively, I definitely wasn't the player I once was.
Which I tell you what is frustrating for me because, I played defense, and I never got any points, and I had 20/20 vision. It's very annoying to look at your stats, but going back to the eye, yeah, I got a daughter, and she has to put a patch over her eye for 3 hours a day because the other eye isn't connecting to the brain. And it's weird to see the improvement where you force that eye to work and all of a sudden her vision has just gotten better over the last year, and she's wore a patch every day for 3 hours for the last year, and it's crazy the connections the brain makes to it. So I don't know
It's
if
the eye
that
is very
is,
difficult. Let's just put it that way. The eye and the brain together, they still can't figure out that optic nerve piece either. So it's definitely a complicated, you know,
yeah.
the
Are
brain
you
and the
like a
eye, very
genius
very
on it
complicated.
now? Are you must know everything
I've
about it.
been through it. It's definitely, which I love too, because I notice things, or if I pick up things, I look at eyes right away, and I love little kids because they're the most honest human beings ever. And a lot of kids will be like, "What's wrong with your eye? What happened to your eye?" Things like that. So it's cute, and they look at it. So the adults, I can see them like staring at it, almost wanting to ask me. And it's just I don't mind talking about it at all. So it's just better to get it out there.
Well, the innocence of a child is a beautiful
It's
thing.
great.
It's Do you have
Yeah,
any
it
kids,
is.
Brian?
I do not, not yet, not yet.
Not yet. Okay,
Not
there's
yet.
still time. Not yet.
Getting up
So
there, but this time.
you get the eye, and correct me if I'm wrong. Toronto said they would have you back, and let you work your way back in, but you said no bueno. I want to be a free agent. Let's go. I want some options, and you went out and you signed with the Rangers. Is that right? You kind of not.
That is right. And hindsight, I wish I could take that back because I ran into Pat Quinn and he was pissed. He was upset at me because I did tell him I'd always be a Leaf, but w- I knew coming back. I mean, I went to the Rangers, but even Rangers is nothing compared to the media in Toronto.
Yeah.
And I figured me coming back, and I knew I was just skating. I knew I wasn't the player I was, and I knew there was going to be a lot of eyes on me if I signed in Toronto with the media and stuff. So I wanted a couple years to kind of almost start my career over again and get back to. I didn't know what type of player I was going to be. So that's the only reason why I didn't go back to the Leafs, and I thought
Okay.
that was the right decision at the time.
So again, it has nothing to do with Canada, and because this is just
Not at
feeding
all.
into that narrative, Brian, that you
I know,
really
I
don't
know.
like Canada. I'm just saying.
Not at all. I
No.
love Toronto is my
Oh
favorite
yeah.
team to play for
Oh,
sure.
and Ottawa's the best too. No, they're both fantastic. So you want to find your game, right? And you want to kind of hide. So you go and you sign with the New York Rangers because that's a very small market team. It allows you to work into
Just
it. No,
if you look at the players on that team, you'll know why I signed there. I mean, just take
well,
a peek
that's
at
when
that.
there was money era. They got Lindros, they got Fleury, they got Brian Leach, they have
Tavo Bure.
Mark Messier. Like who's who was a free agent. The Rangers used to go out and sign them, and they went
Exactly.
and get you. So you go to
And we
this
missed the
team
playoffs.
and you missed the playoffs. Yeah, and it was a complete dud. Everybody was just blaming everybody and their brother. How was that though? Because you're a guy coming back. Everybody, like you said, wants to know how you're doing, and you're able to go into this locker room and have just so many luxuries, so many great players to play with. That must have been fun to just look across and see all these Hall of Famers.
It was, and it took the pressure off. I mean, I went out. I was probably, probably a fifth or sixth defenseman on that team. Slats was great with me. Patience. I played all 82 games.
Yeah.
There's definitely some nights I probably shouldn't have been in the lineup, especially with that roster. But the D was like me and Carpa, probably 5'6". So I just was able to get my reps. I mean, that's the easiest way to say it. I was able to get reps, play some hockey, still playing 12, maybe 12 to 50 minutes a game, second power play. So I was able to kind of get, my feet underneath me a little bit. So I thought that was the right decision. It sucked that it was a tough year, obviously, with Theo Fleury. I had a real tough year personally, and some things like that were tough. But, I felt I was able to get my feet under me, and then I signed in Boston. And, I could tell my game was starting to come back. And especially offensively, I was starting to put some points back up.
Yeah, did it take a while? Because like I can't even wrap my head around how hard that would be to go from playing with one eye, basically. How, gosh, and then switching sides even is difficult.
Yeah, well, it definitely took a little time, but again, it's kind of funny. But one of my assets was my vision too, right? My hockey IQ and my vision.
Right?
So
Yeah.
that never went away. Obviously, I miss, if I explained it, the toughest thing again, defensively or fetching pucks. If we're going back for pucks and one
Yeah.
guy was chasing me, I was good. But if they sent two guys, then I could be in a little bit of trouble. And then I bulked up. I played, it affected probably my quickness a little bit after my injury. I played at probably 215, 218.
Oh
I just
wow.
figured
Yeah.
that, yeah, I just figured that I needed a little more size because I'd probably get belted a little bit more and kind of want to be a little bit more steady back there.
Did
So
you have a
that's kind
blind
of how it
spot at
was.
all going back or like
Oh, for
checking?
sure. I mean, definitely, obviously then I put the visor on and I came back one funny shift. I was just always bitching about my visor either being too close to my face and Leachy always wore a visor. He says, the problem is your nose. Just shave down your nose. You'll be all right. Good old Leacho. It doesn't say too many words, but that was one of the funnier ones on the bench that I'll always remember. So, yeah, it was good. I mean, again, no, vision was never there the same, but the peripheral, my right side, I just have to, like I always tell young defensemen today, keep your head on the swivel, right? So that's basically what I had to do.
Oh, gosh, that's got to be impossible. But yeah, you played great, and then you go to the Bruins next year, another original six. You went on a streak of original six there for a
Yep.
while, but
Yep.
and you play great in Boston. Why? And then you go to Chicago the next year, and you play great in Chicago. Why not re-sign with any of these teams?
Yeah, that's what pissed me off, and that's why towards the end of my career I was done with hockey for a while. The politics, obviously, the Bruins are Bruins. They played the old arbitration game, went to arbitration. They lost on purpose, so my salary, got up to 2.5 or 2.8. They didn't want to pay that. They didn't think any other team would come after me, which I was fine signing in Boston for. They didn't even want to give me $2 million. So we are just kind of going back and forth with them. And then Chicago stepped up, paid me the money. And that was the year before the lockout.
Yeah,
Bob Pulford was there. Brian Sutter was there. Me and Brian got along great. Excuse me, put up, but I didn't play many. I think I only played 50 some games this year because I missed the beginning of the season with the holdout. Excuse me.
yeah.
So, but I put up some pretty good, really good points,
Oh,
actually,
great
points
numbers.
per
You're almost a
game.
point per game. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And actually, Pulford, we came in, we did a deal. We did a 3-year deal with the Blackhawks, but couldn't sign it because that was the lockout, 2004.
Uh,
Yeah, so and then good old Dale Talon came in, who I'm still pissed off at today. And when I see him, I'll let him know. I still haven't seen him, but then and I get along with Dale. But we had a three, and I just didn't sign it. We had a 3-year deal for $9 million. Would have loved to stay in Chicago. And he retracted that contract, which I thought was bullshit.
so going back to the Bruins. So what do you mean he retracted? He just said
He
when you
just
he just said
they
no.
fired Pulford, and because I was one of Pulford's guys or whatever,
Yeah.
Dale came in. He wanted to start all over or whatever he wanted to do. He fired Sutter, and then he reneged on my contract, which I thought was
Oh,
bullshit. So
that is
yeah, so that
greasy.
and then I always got along with Doug McLean, who was a great guy from Columbus. So he pretty much signed me to the same contract minus the they did all the however they did the money wasn't the same, but he looked at it as the same, and he did a 2-year deal with me in Columbus. And
Okay.
that's where I just got frustrated more with hockey because I was putting up unreal. I think I got hurt with 40 something games. I almost had a point a game. I think I was up to
Yeah.
13, 14 goals in 40 something games. And then I blew my lower back. And then and it sounds like I got a black cloud over my head. I pretty much do. But then the doctors screwed up with that, and they only thought it was one level, so they just operated at L3, L4, and it was both L3, 4, 4, 5. So then I missed a whole nother year from that as well. So, and that was
How did
pretty
they
much the
not
end of the
know
career.
or even
Yeah,
check?
it's crazy, crazy. Good old team doctors. So yeah, it's bullshit.
And then
So
they get pissed
that's
at you when you take get a second opinion.
yeah, exactly. The good old the doctors, So that's why, especially the young kids today, make sure you guys get, you have your rights, especially the union, to get second opinions and stuff. And if you don't have to use team docs, don't. That's for
Oh, and the
sure.
teams get so mad even if you go like get aspirin from somebody else. They want
Yeah,
total control over you.
it's crazy. No
So
good.
you go back to the Bruins, and I'm guessing Jacobs was still the owner at the time, and he was pulling a lot of the strings. How do they mess up your? You said they lost arbitration on purpose. I never went. Walk me through that. Why did they do that?
They that's a great question. I think what they do is there's teams have to, so if they lost, so they lost arbitration, so I think it was like 2.4 $2.5 million I was
So
awarded.
I don't want to jump on you because I want to hear all this. Take me through how
Sorry
did they
about that.
lose? Like, what does it mean when they lost arbitration? So
They
you
basically
submit a number and
Yeah, they basically just didn't fight it. So
okay,
basically they're supposed to fight for their side of what they think you're worth. The PA fights for the players to what they think that's worth. It's pretty easy, right? Comparables. So the Bruins didn't put up a fight. The judge awarded me 2.5, and now a team has to offer me a 10% increase on that, or even it might even be more. I don't know the exact rules to basically sign me. And if they don't, I have to do a deal with the Bruins. So
for
what we're
that
trying to do it,
2.5.
not for that 2.5. They're supposed to give you the 2.5, but if they don't sign you for that 2.5, you become an unrestricted free agent.
Ah,
But a
okay.
team to sign you has to sign you at a certain number over that 2.5. So I think that year I played for the Blackhawks just under $3 million.
So just say the Hawks didn't offer you that number. What
I would have
would
been
you?
then I'd probably have to go back to the Bruins or basically go back to what Bruins wanted me to do is go back to them begging and sign for a lower number is what they wanted to do.
Okay, so they were like, "There's no way a team's going to give him 3 million. He's
Exactly.
going to come back. We'll give him $1 million." Basically, that's
Ex-
what they were trying.
exactly. They wanted to give me 1.5 or something like that, 1.5, 1.6, something like that.
And you're coming off a great season with them, like playing great, and they try to pull that crap.
Yep. Yep.
That's
Bruins.
crazy.
Yeah, they've tried that a few times with some players for sure. So
You just have the worst luck when it comes to anything.
it's can be true. Yeah, definitely ups and downs. That's for sure.
I can't believe it. And so
They
you
don't call
get
me Mush
done.
for a reason, right?
They call you what? Sorry.
Mush. I'm just kidding. Quoting from Bronx Tale. Good old
Oh,
Mush.
that's funny. So you go back to the Islanders and you have another good season. And that's the thing. I expect there to be a fall off with your play and your points. I'm sitting here going, you're productive every single season. What's like, you're still a very productive player 10 years after your injury or 7 years, whatever it may be. Why shut it down? Like, why go to Russia?
the
What happened?
the lower back.
The back.
After
Okay.
yeah, two lower back surgeries, my lumbar, and it was a to get dressed every day,
Mm.
not dressed clothes wise, but to get warmed up for practice every day. It was a grind. And then basically for me, it caused by I hurt my back shooting pucks. So the shooting was killer for me, and obviously that's
Okay.
part of my game and the power play and stuff. And so I went over to Russia to basically, I could have played in Russia for the next 5 6 years, made good money. I had to go over for play 30 games, which I was willing to do. I wasn't scared at all of flying. And then obviously that horrific fatal plane crash with what I lost a bunch of buddies on. Obviously played with the Leafs, a couple Russian buddies, and then Big Beast, Brad McCrimmon. So after that, I was like, is this worth the money? I knew the planes were old and stuff like that. So I just
Oh,
kind of I
wow.
came back home and called it quits.
So that's the locomotive plane crash,
Yeah,
right?
exactly, exactly. Like Korolev, bunch of good buddies on that
No
flight.
way.
So
So you were over there when
yeah.
that happened.
Yeah, I was actually the year before I was with the big VD's team check off with Chris Simon,
Yeah.
RIP, great buddy of mine. And then I was signed with Alexander McGillney's team over in Eastern by Siberia, pretty much Amur, AMUR. I was over there when that plane went down, and then I just kind of hopped on the next plane back and said, that's it for my career. I'm done.
So, and I know this is kind of morbid, but the planes were bad. Like you noticed it
They were
when you
awful.
flew.
They were awful. I mean, we leave Chekhov, so we'd leave Moscow. We'd fly to, at that time, Omsk, where Yager was playing. It'd be a
Yeah.
9 hour flight. Even they don't, at that point, I think hopefully it's changed now, but they didn't de-ice. The
Oh
planes weren't
wow.
even big enough. A lot of our hockey bags would be like on the back seats of the planes. It just, two seats, two and two. It was awful. And that's the one thing I just didn't. I loved playing over there, to be honest with you. It was like the Wild West. It was a lot of fun. But the plane rides and the flying to me were dangerous,
Wow. Good on you for leaving.
obviously.
But the one year that you played, you gooned it up. You were on this team, like everybody's fighting. You get
Uh,
100 PIMs in 25 games. Did you just decide, I'm not going to shoot because the back? I'm just going to start throwing bombs.
no, no, I didn't want to. I wanted to shoot and pass. It was brutal because Big Chief went over there, Chris went over there, Simon went over there to play some hockey
Mm-hmm.
too, and the Russians love the fighting, right? The owners love this. So
Yeah.
a lot of these young kids were challenging Chief, and I'd be
Uh,
yelling at the kids like, "You don't want a piece of them," and then Chief would snap. and then he'd hurt some of these kids, and then line brawls would start. A lot of times I'd have to jump in, obviously. So I was just kind of fighting for my teammates and fighting for Chris because guys were trying to jump him, and it just and our owner loved that shit. So yeah, I got my ass kicked a couple times, pretty good. Because a lot of times Chief would drop their tough guy, and then two other guys would jump on him, and then the tough guy would try to go back at Chief, and then I get paired with the tough guy, so I'd have to fight their tough guy. So it was like, thanks, Chief, I appreciate that, but.
Thanks,
At least,
buddy.
yeah, but he was snappy. He was killing guys over there. He didn't want to fight. He wanted to play. He's on the power play with me.
Oh, no
He wanted
kidding.
to score some goals and stuff. And guys would just, guys would challenge him every game. So it sucked for him.
Nah, it's yeah. And then you retire and
You
you're
know how
done.
it is. Yeah,
Oh,
exactly.
I know
Exactly.
how it is. I got
Yeah,
offered
yeah,
to go play in Russia when I was done, and my wife was the one who said no way. But
yeah, yeah.
I'm kind of glad because I saw what Morasti and them were doing. They had the Oblonsky and Morasti and all. There were some tough
Oh,
guys over in Russia. I just no thank you. So
yeah, they were.
now fast forward to now, and we get this interview scheduled. Somebody coordinates it. Gosh, what's his name?
Yeah,
Andrew or
Jeff
something.
Jeff Winchester. Yeah,
Jeff
right.
Winchester.
Yep, yep.
And
So
hold on a
go ahead.
second. I'm gonna lead into it. So I get I
Yeah,
get
yeah.
this.
I got you.
I get your email, and it's not, most guys got like I just did Tage Thompson. It's like Tomer at Hotmail, or I did Luch. Luch is like mluchich at Gmail. Bryan Berard's email is a president
I
at
hate it.
such and
I hate.
such. Now
I hate
look at
it.
now. I love Canada. And I don't like the email.
No, I
Why?
don't like it.
So when you asked for that, you said president with a capital P. Is
I
that
did
what
not
you
ask.
asked for?
I did not ask for it. I did not.
Oh
That
yeah.
that 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 I swear on my good eye. I swear to God, on my good eye. But yeah, I started. Uh, it's a great story, and it's kind of where I'm at today. Probably about a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, a couple of my good buddies, Joffrey Lupul, Scotty Upshaw, and a good buddy Andy McGoughlin played at BC. They moved out to Aspen during COVID. I went out there for a little shindig, just for a little party, and at that time, I think it was Labor Day. It was a music festival going on. I met Sheldon Wilitsky and his family, Katie Wilitsky, his wife Katie Wilitsky, and they have 5 kids under 11. And he's on his second mountain. He's about to exit his company, a big staffing company called the Select Group, but he's about to exit that. And so I saw what he was doing. His second mountain, he started a youth organization called Colorado Extreme about 4 years ago. This will be our fifth year. He wanted to basically provide free hockey from everybody. It's Mid Valley, Don Valley from Aspen. It's 45 minutes. A lot of Latinos, so a lot of people that can't afford hockey. So he
Mhm.
wanted to basically start this organization and provide free hockey, free gear for kids. He expected 60, 80 players. Over 100 plus showed up. We're now at 600. We're now at 600 kids with 3 youth organization. We provide free gear through NHL and Pure Hockey. We did a deal with them. So we basically will fit your kids so they come out and skate for free ice time. We're outdoor rinks right now. We have chillers, but we have 2 outdoor rinks.
Oh,
Our second
awesome.
rink's being built now. So that's why we kind of reach out to you. I'm doing a little tour and podcast about our biggest fundraiser. Sheldon's family is putting in a ton of money, and it's just not sustainable. So we really want to keep a place for kids to play hockey, provide the free gear, the Colorado Extreme in Carbondale. So we do our biggest fundraiser. I'm getting to it. We play our biggest fundraiser the year. It's called the NHL Outdoor Alumni Game. This year we added the fantasy camp aspect, which is awesome. It's December 11th through the 14th in Aspen. We play basically. We open everybody up. Big welcome party at Belly Up in Aspen. A lot of people know what that is. Dustin Lynch is performing. Friday's the big fantasy game. The 2 goaltenders are Lundqvist and Marc-Andre Fleury. So there won't be a lot of goals scored by the campers, but it'll be an awesome experience. We'll have about 6 NHL guys on each of that team, so the campers will have a blast. And then the big finale game is Saturday at 3 p.m. We play the Avs alumni. There'll be about probably 40 plus NHL guys there, NHL alumnus there. It's a great event. It's all for fundraiser. It's all for the kids, and it's for Colorado Extreme to provide obviously free ice time, free gear, and just have a place for the kids to play. So it's a great cause, and it's for the kids. So if you guys, I ask people if they come out or they want to play in be a fantasy camper for the weekend. We have ex NHL equipment guys coming out. They're going to set up the locker rooms. It's going to be a complete NHL experience. So it's going to be awesome.
That's amazing. And you got some heavy hitters. Like I know Hank, I played with him with the Rangers. He doesn't do a lot. And to get him to come out is pretty incredible. The same with Marc-Andre Fleury. The guy just retired. You think he'd want to spend some time with his family, but that's crazy. Like,
Yeah,
how do
it's
you
awesome.
get this guys? Like, it's
It's
nuts.
awesome too because we have in the mornings guys ski. Uh, Sheldon's got 14, 15 snowmobile sleds on top of Ajax Mountain, so we'll give a lot of the donors and some guys some backcountry snowmobiling, which is awesome. It's just an awesome weekend. We have a poker event as well. That's on Friday night, so guys can sit down and drink some beers with each other, bullshit, and play some poker as well. So it's a great event. We get definitely. I think we got 4 or 5 Hall of Famers now. Trying to get Paul Coffey there as well. So you guys like Chelios, Ronick just had a bail on us, unfortunately. Big event, but with the Blackhawks. But we got a lot of top guys. It's a great event. So it's gonna be a lot of fun for the campers.
You need some like all-star MVPs or something, like
There
something to
you
put it
go.
over
There
the
you go.
top. But
Well, I
I don't know
invited you. You
if
turned it
there's any
down.
around.
You
What's
turned it
that?
down. I said I invited you, but you turned it down.
It's funny you mentioned that guy had 5 kids under the age of 11. I have 8 kids under the age of 13, so it's tough to get out, Brian, when you're
I get that. Jesus.
dragging all
Good
these
for
kids.
you. Good for you.
Brian gives me like a week advance. He's like, "Hey, do you want to come?" I'm like, "Buddy, I need like 6
Well,
months in advance to get babysitters lined
we'll
up."
we'll sign you up for next year because if you guys can come out, you and the wife can come out. It's a great, to be honest with you, it's a great event for the wives too. All the wives come out and we do something special because Sheldon Whiskey's wife, it's her birthday,
Oh,
Katie
cool.
Whiskey's birthday on December 14th. So we make sure that the wives are special too. And if the wives are happy, the guys can come back every year. That's the way we
That's
look at
honestly how it works. That's fantastic. So if someone's listening and they want to go, do they go to a website or what do they do?
Yeah, if they can go to the website, it's coloradoextreme.org, and they can figure it out. But right now, if you look social media, it's all over the place. You can reach out to me too, obviously at president at coloradoextreme.org. I'm changing that soon though, but please reach out, president at coloradoextreme.org. It'd be great.
The ball's on you to say president at coloradoextreme.com is unbelievable. Like that's such a
.org,
great email.
.org.
.org, excuse me.
Exactly. And the best part about it, guys, just so everyone knows too, we're a 501c3, so it's a full tax write-off for everybody, donors and players and everything. So it's a big event.
And if you want to go to the event and be one of the charity is there still spots available or no?
Yeah, for sure. You can just go online or again reach out to me and we'll take care of you.
Yeah, these events are so
Always
fun. I've done them in the past. Like you get to play hockey, you get to drink and hang around with the guys. You do like it's so incredibly fun, and hockey guys are the best. And I'm looking at the lineup
Yeah,
here.
it's awesome.
Like you got Fleury, Lundqvist, Quincy, you got Shane O'Brien, you got yourself, Barnaby, John Michael Lyles, Swaggy P is going to be there.
Yeah, we got a lot of guys that are coming in that are influencers as well. I'm working on Brad May. We got a bunch of guys that'll come in, so it'll be awesome.
All right, well, thank you, Brian, for sharing that with us.
Thanks for having me.
And yeah, I hope everything goes well. Hopefully, I can make it out there next year. If you just give me a little more time, I think I can make it.
I will for sure. Absolutely.
Anything else you want to pump or push, or you want to talk about how much you hate Canada or your eye or anything?
That's great. I appreciate it, John. Thank you very much for having me.
All right, everybody. Bryan Berard, thank you for listening. We'll talk to you next time. Cheers, everybody.
Thanks, brother. Have a good day.